Hi guys, it's SkintBoot here, and today what I'm going to be bringing you guys is a No Man's Sky video. And in today's video, what I'm actually going to be looking into is a topic which has been brought up a fair amount recently, one which I have to make my own video on because I feel like there is so much to talk about here, and that is No Man's Sky likely on the next generation of consoles? So for today's video, I want to look into the advantages and drawbacks of having some sort of No Man's Sky port for the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2, or whatever stupid name they're gonna call it. As always, this video is of course complete and utter speculation, so nothing is confirmed, nothing is set in stone. Please do take everything with a pinch of salt. But with all of that said and done, please do sit back and relax. Let's get started. Okay, so first up, let's establish something. No Man's Sky 2, or some sort of sequel to the game launching with the next generation of consoles, is, in my eyes, fucking stupid. It just won't happen in my opinion, and there is a long list of reasons that I won't get into, otherwise this video is going to be stupid amounts of lengths long. However, I do think a sort of remaster is possible, a version of No Man's Sky with all updates and future support that utilizes next generation hardware. Now this idea makes the most sense to me because there is a general consensus that there are a load of technical drawbacks that have prevented No Man's Sky from doing and adding certain things. Perhaps a reason for the huge amount of cut content was due to hardware limitations, or more likely engine limitations. And we know that No Man's Sky's engine is being tinkered with for Beyond, but that doesn't necessarily solve a potential hardware drawback. So next generation consoles would obviously be a load more powerful than what we have currently, and as such, a remaster of No Man's Sky for new hardware may indeed allow for some old features to return. The biggest one, which I think is probably held back by limitations, is a true open universe. No loading screens whatsoever. Being able to pick out a star in the sky and you fly to it and a planet will slowly pop into place. Having a remastered version of No Man's Sky for the next generation is a time to basically rebuild the game from scratch, near enough. And having a massive improvement like an open universe would make way more sense by, creating a new game rather than adding it into the game with an update in a, 5 to 6 month time window. Okay, so with the kind of basics out of the way, because I can ramble for ages about how console limitations destroy games, about how ambitions are absolutely shat on by how weak consoles are, but I'm not going to be doing that. Instead, I actually want to bring up a point that is a load less likely but is technically possible, and that is No Man's Sky being some kind of PlayStation 5 launch title. Now Sony might try and do what they did with the original No Man's Sky, market it as the sole reason to buy a PS4 so you can play this amazing game, but this time make sure it's actually done right. Now for a start, this is completely out of the ordinary, and I don't think this would happen for a million different reasons, but if it were to happen, then I guess the main motivation for doing it would be to earn back some kind of trust and respect that was lost with the original launching on PlayStation 4. I guess the best way to truly change people's minds is to do exactly what happened last time, but this time do it right. And I think a lot of people may indeed forget about the state of the original if a new game were released and it comes out the way it actually should be. Now again, as I said, this is very unlikely for a number of different reasons, but by far the biggest drawback is the fact that No Man's Sky is no longer a PlayStation exclusive. It was marketed as probably the best and most anticipated game for the PlayStation 4, but in the modern day where No Man's Sky exists on PC and Xbox One, there is really no reason why Sony would want to reacquire the rights to a game. And on top of this, Sony, if anything, completely destroyed No Man's Sky and probably made it into the game it was at launch. That is largely due to how Sony operates. Obviously, it's a big publisher and it wants its games out at a certain time frame. This means that even if the game game is incomplete and the developers are asking for more time, they will still push it out in a very kind of similar to EA or Activision method of doing things. And that is largely why No Man's Sky released, because Sony forced them to release it. So in reality, even if this did happen, I would hate for Sony to reacquire the rights to a No Man's Sky sequel or some kind of remaster of the game. Okay, so onto some negatives now, or some general problems that would arise from a new generation version of No Man's Sky. First and foremost, sales might be low. This is largely due to the fact that people have lost a load of trust with No Man's Sky, and specifically Hello Games. Yes, the trust is coming back as they continue to update the game, but those who never touched No Man's Sky since launch are still very much in the mindset that the game is a piece of shit and that they were scammed out of their money. If they were to see that a newer version of No Man's Sky were to be releasing, I think a lot of people would make some kind of meme out of it, saying this is like fucking Groundhog Day, things are happening exactly the same. And as such, I think a lot of people would be put off the idea of giving their money to Hello Games once again. Next up is an issue with old generation versions. If No Man's Sky were to come out on the next generation, then how would Hello Games deal with the old generation versions? Would these old gen versions slowly become obsolete? Would they just stop updating them and focus on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox 2 versions? And if not, then they basically have to update two technically different games, but with the exact same content updates. And that is going to put a massive strain on their development and their resources. And finally, would a new gen version of No Man's Sky even receive free content updates? I do think that a big reason why No Man's Sky gets updated so frequently is because they're trying to rebuild trust and they're trying to get back respect which they lost at launch. Had No Man's Sky released the way it was shown to be, then I doubt Hello Games would have added content to it, at least not as religiously and with as much time they put into it as they do nowadays. And if this newer version of No Man's Sky were to drop and it were to be the game which it was supposed to be, then they would probably have no reason to add content to it. This isn't necessarily a bad thing if it's a near perfect game, but going from an old gen version of No Man's Sky where we are used to content updates and it keeps things fresh and there is a general consensus that the game is ever evolving, for that just to be taken away, I think would put off a load of people. So guys, that is really just about all I have to say on the matter, but please do let me know your thoughts on the aspect of a newer version of No Man's Sky for new hardware when that does eventually release. I just want to say thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then please do feel free to leave a like on it, and if you guys could also subscribe to MZK, then that'd be absolutely fantastic. And as always, I will see you guys on my next video. This is SkintBoot, signing out.